from the Buddhist perspective, what I can see is my parents, they got old. A part of my elder generation, meaning my grandfathers and my grandmothers, some of them are not even alive anymore. So what I definitely can witness, what I can see is there is something that we just call impermanent. Impermanent meaning nothing stays as it is. So even lots of the people that we think that we are building in this house, even that is eventually will disappear. So now, knowing that this time that we at this moment call as life has a limited time frame, that in a way this time is limited, that there is a certain degree of action that can put into this lifetime. Out of these thoughts, I do think one of the main questions to ask yourself is, what would you like to do with the rest of the lifetime that you still have available right now? So, and this is the same for everyone. I'm almost going to the 30s. So just imagining I would become 80. That means half of my life, half of the time is gone. In case you're in the mid-20s, hopefully you're going to live like 100 years. 3 times more short. But no matter what, there will be the time that is going to run out. Or let's say you only have that remaining time when you still possible to do something about the lifetime as you know it. That's something. And so, of course, ultimately, what arises is the wish not to waste it. So there it suddenly started, but what does it mean to not waste? It means doing a lot, thinking that you are doing a lot, but ultimately there is no real outcome. This is the kind of action I'm definitely trying to avoid. Now the question is, how can it be? So how does it actually happen that people are doing a lot of things, but ultimately maybe you really can't with not doing anything? It can only mean something in the way how you handle life, and how you handle your life. It's not in alignment. It's either not in alignment with what you're listening, or it's not in alignment with what this life is wishing for you. So in order to not waste time, number one is ensure about your intentions. This is something I have to know. So that means every action that I do, I have to bring others into the same process. For example, I know you have like conversation right now, and this is why I want that we have a conversation first of all without our mouths getting too dry. And that's why part of this is
how long was that?
I just sit there while you're having this. So it means I don't do these things easy. I didn't prepare the tea, I didn't like just take anything. However, a good time that we are not going to have some spending for this quality. And this is what I have this is for me that expression. How do you feel value, quality into your life? You need to could be, I'm not sure yet, I don't know. Time itself is not limited. Time itself is not limited. But that we perceive this time frame in the way of what we call my life, your life. That one doesn't be limited. Time itself may be time, but the way how we have the chance to perceive it for ourselves.
The next philosopher is Epictetus, and he talks about the dichotomy of control, which is the understanding of the things that are outside of our control and what is inside of our control. And he says that we should not worry or stress about things outside of our control. I'd like to know your thoughts on this control.
Let's go for control. Sometimes you can talk too fast because it blocks out of my work that I use control. But if I properly think about what actually meant, I would replace it by adjust. And why is that? Because if we are controlling something, if you are controlling something, it still means that that's something you are trying to control, not a part of you. It's not a part of you, because I need control. So we're talking about two separate areas. I am here, and this is what needs to be controlled. If I'm talking about adjustment, then what I mean is whatever you try to adjust, you have gathered an understanding. You have made it become a part of your perception. And because it has become a part of your perception, part of your life, let's say, that's why it's one with you. And if it is one with you, then it is something that you can now adjust. This is not just
I'd like you to imagine that the current month and year is December 1999. Both the holiday season and Y2K are upon us. Before the world ends in nuclear war, you figure you might as well find one great game you can play before you explode like Sarah Connor does during the Terminator 2 dream sequence. Maybe you gift this particular game to yourself, or you ask a loved one for it. Regardless, there are numerous legendary games to choose from. Pokemon Gold and Silver, Dino Crisis, System Shock 2, Silent Hill 1, Crash Team Racing, or maybe the most emotionally invigorating game made in the pre-2000s era, Pepsi Man. You look at all these games on the store shelves, wondering which one would provide you with the best experience. And out of the corner of your eye, you see a blue face staring you down. Planescape Torment? What is that? Unable to glean anything about the game just by looking at the blue face, you likely picked up Pokemon and called it a millennium. I say you would have likely done that because in the first few months of Planescape's release, only 73,000 copies were sold. In its retail lifetime, it is estimated that Planescape Torment sold only 400,000 copies. It's hard to say that picking up Pokemon or any of the other games instead of Planescape Torment was a bad decision. Virtually all of them were of such great quality that they served as archetypes for imitation for decades to come. It must be said, though, that all these games have aspects that were surpassed in quality by sequels, spiritual successors, or even games that came before. But for Planescape Torment, I would argue that it has one quality that has yet to be surpassed 23 years later. Its philosophy. While many games, like Deus Ex or Fallout New Vegas, have wonderful philosophical narratives, often woven by player choice, their philosophical elements are one of many equally important cogs working together. In regards to Planescape Torment, the philosophy is the cog. It forms the foundation of every aspect of this game. When you choose a faction, when you recruit a new party member, when you speak to a random person in the street, at every moment, Planescape Torment invites the player to consult with their own philosophical outlook. This kind of philosophical self-examination isn't the type of thing you tend to see in more popular RPGs, like the ones made by Bethesda, BioWare, or The Witcher games, even though those games are legendary and have worthwhile philosophical elements. With Planescape Torment, the philosophy goes into the realm of the academic, and I mean that technically. Each of the characters and factions in this game are fictional representations of various real-world philosophies, including pessimism, nihilism, Epicureanism, just to name a few. And as you interact with them, you learn more about them than, honestly, you would in a philosophy class. But most importantly, by interacting with them, you also learn more about who you are, your moral outlook, why you act the way that you do, why you should or shouldn't change your nature, and the biggest conundrum of all, if you even can change your nature. I will be providing a spoiler-free analysis of this game's philosophy, save for the very last section of the video where there will be spoilers. But before I do that, I need to make a confession. As most of my regular followers know, my primary goal online is to spotlight the most profound forms of
Basically, in order to get out of the bed, I have to climb on my parents' bed and get down from there. I was around 8 at the time, and I was getting ready to go to sleep. It wasn't extremely late, since my parents were still awake and getting me to get to bed. I remember I had school the next day. The room was dark, but the lights in the hallway was keeping me awake. So there I am, in bed, just sort of thinking when I blinked. Suddenly, it's morning, and there's light coming out the window. It wasn't like I was awake and closed my eyes for a couple of seconds. No, I just blinked and froze. I didn't want to believe it until I saw the cloudy sky outside, along with the morning fog like that. My parents' bed looked like it had slept in. My dad got up at the crack of dawn, so I figured he had already left for work. I ran out and called for my mom, only to find her in the kitchen. I asked her this morning, to which she said yes, and told me I didn't go to school. I tried asking her questions like, what exactly happened last night? What time did they go to bed? Did they see me sleep when they entered the room? She dodged all my questions. I never got an exact answer. Unfortunately, my parents are older now, so their memories aren't as reliable, and I thought they remember what's happening. For the rest of the day, everything and everybody seemed the same. I never forgot how, in less than a second, they were all night. What's strange, this person describes it as being like just a normal blink. Like they weren't just about to fall asleep, they weren't dozing off or anything. Like, it was a normal blink, kind of went on like today. I don't know, is it possible that this person just like fell asleep and didn't even realize it? I really don't know. I don't know what to think about it. I've worn glasses for half my life. I've had the same frame for years, since I was 9 years old. I'm 18 now. They were my grandfather's when he was in his 30s, and he just eventually outgrew them. But he had an obsession with keeping old things, so I claimed his mind and decided to no longer use it. I take care of the frames very well, and I'm gentle with them because they're made out of very thin metal, as most men's eyeglasses are in size. Every time I shower, I always put my glasses in the same spot in the kitchen bar counter before the kitchen counter. I put them there for the past decade in the same exact spot. So a few months ago, I did the same routine. Take glasses off, place them on the counter, shower, come outside. When I went up to the counter, I immediately put the glasses on, not taking a second glance at them because I'm pretty blind when I'm not. As soon as I put them on, I noticed something was off. They were heavier than usual. Like I said, the glasses I wear are made out of very thin metal, the classic 70s glasses, the typical glasses that are associated with serial killers. I immediately took them off to get a closer look, and I realized these were not my glasses. They were made out of a hard, thick plastic and had a brown and black tortoise pattern. They had a very modern frame, not even close to the frame I had, but they weren't a prescription. I was super confused because nobody else in my household wears glasses, and it would be impossible for these random glasses to appear in replace mine. I know what my glasses feel like on my face and while I'm holding them. I know how much they weigh. I know everything about them from all the years I've had them. These plastic glasses are not my glasses. I turned the whole house upside down, didn't find them. I also asked every single friend of me that lives with me if they kept my glasses or saw them anywhere, and everybody denies it. I showed them the plastic frame, and they told me those are the glasses that I've always had. I went through old photos, and there's literally 0 pictures of me with my grandfather's glasses on. They've been replaced by these chunky glasses in every single picture. I have no idea what's going on anymore. After reading all the Glitch in the Matrix stories, I'm starting to become paranoid. I can't get over the fact that there might be another me out there experiencing the same confusion. That has my glasses. Okay, the ending of that one was pretty funny, but to be honest, the ones that confuse me the most are the stories where people seem to have these strange experiences with objects that they're very familiar with. For instance, this guy has literally been wearing the same pair of glasses for a decade. You're telling me that 10 full years went by where this guy wears his glasses every single day. I never realized what they actually look like. I don't know, this one is just very hard to explain. Alright, this one is pretty strange, and I can't seem to find any sort of a lesson. To me, this one definitely sounds like it's coming from someone who truly believes in what they saw. So with that in mind, put yourself in this person's shoes and not sure if it's classified as a glitch in the Matrix, but when I was 8, I had a conversation with my pop while playing PlayStation for a few minutes. Mom came in freaking out and crying. I suddenly forgot about the whole conversation a second later, and Pop was there. Mom was apparently listening to another room for a moment and realized that I was talking to Pop, which was really bizarre because he died years before I was born, and Mom had never told us anything about him. I remembered what his face looked like and described it to Mom vividly. I really don't know how to feel about it because I didn't feel anything that happened. Mom was shut for over a week and kept on asking me questions, but I couldn't remember anything other than the appearance and standing watching the whole PlayStation. This didn't happen to me, but to my dad. He works for a heating and air conditioning company, so he often has to go out to people's houses to fix things. About 5 years ago, he told me he had a bizarre dream where he went on a call to an elderly woman's house. He'd never seen the house or this woman before, but he said it was bizarre because of how realistic it felt. He fixed the boiler in the dream, chatted for a bit with her, and then left. About a week later, his company gets a call from an elderly woman needing the boiler fixed. They sent my dad on the job. When he arrived, he said it was the exact same house that he dreamed, the same old lady. He knew her name without needing to ask and knew his way around the house without having gone inside yet. When she opened the door, she said, "Hi, Gary." And when he asked how she already knew his name, she said she had a dream last week that her boiler broke, and that my dad was the one who was going to fix it, so she just always connected. 2 complete strangers, never having met each other, had the exact same dream that they would meet each other, and they did. The whole thing is so weird. The setting, mid-1990s, on a rural road in southern Mississippi. My best friend's dad had a used car dealership. We got in a small convertible sporty car and went off to the alley. He and I went on a thrill ride in the back roads to the Pine Zone. There was this one section that was relatively straight and had a hill crest halfway. We got behind a car, probably going the speed limit, but it was too slow for us in that little Mazda. So he downshifted. We got close to the crest and another car came over. We weren't 100 feet from the other car, but ridiculous so fast. We both yelled, "Oh!" and I hunched my eyes shut and waited for it. There is no way we could have missed that car. I remember seeing the driver's eyes. We were so close. The impact was inevitable. I opened my eyes, and my best friend had his arm up in my shoulder. He was singing to the radio. It was a beautiful day, we looked down, saw the play, not a car in sight. It's one of the two things that I like. I brought it up to him once a few years ago. We're both in our mid-40s now. He looked confused for a second, and then the blood rushed to his face. Holy shit. I remember that. What the hell happened? I brought it up again a year or so ago. He didn't remember anything. He didn't remember the incident. He didn't even remember the accident about it. Truly remarkable. Alright, now I want you to keep that last story in mind while we go through this thing. Here's one from my brother. I don't think our mom believed him, but I certainly do. He seemed spooked on that one. He was sitting in the passenger seat, driving home alongside my mom. A bright green car swerved and hit them, knocking bits and pieces of glass into the car. He jolted awake afterwards, just in time to see the green car pass him. He claimed he felt the marks the glass left afterwards, too. As it seems in the previous videos, we'll know these actors and strangely very similar stories. We had several stories that all seem to get into a car accident. There's glass flying everywhere, plastic is flying, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're just right back to where they were. So, although that just sounds impossible, something like makes any sense, I have so many different people that know this. To be honest, in almost all of the replies to all of these different cases, people have had the same sort of explanation. And that is quantum immortality. Now, I'm not going to dive super into this idea or this theory, but I'm going to break it down for you. Basically, the idea is just that your consciousness never dies. That when you die in one way, your consciousness switches to another one where you didn't die in that same way. Like, for example, if what we're talking about is true and that's what's happening here, that would mean that these people got into an accident, were about to die, and then their consciousness went to a different reality where they didn't die in that accident. Now, I'm not saying that I do actually believe in that, but it's impossible to just prove a lot of it at the same time, which makes it very interesting. I have a distinct memory of being in third grade and checking out a horrible Harry book in the school library. If I recall correctly, the library had a one-week rental policy which lined up with my class's schedule of visiting the library once a week. The week passed and I grabbed the book from the side table to the left of my bed and brought it to school. I returned the book and got a new one. The next week, I was informed I couldn't check out a new book because my horrible Harry book was there. That night, the book was once again on my side table. I put it in my backpack and returned it again the next day. Then it happened again. I returned the damn book 3 times, each time finding it in the same spot in my room. Still not sure what happened. A few years ago, I started having weird dreams. Very vivid. So realistic that I wrote them down and started telling family about them. I would get like 15 to 60 minutes out of each dreams, and they were all different moments at the same time. One day, a few months after having them, the event from these dreams started happening in real life, and I realized that instead of predicting the future events based on the dreams. It got to the point where I would tell my friend, this random person we've never met is going to show up soon. She will say this, and I will say this back, and she'll hang out with us for 5 minutes, and then leave. And then 5 minutes later, this exact series of events happened, word for word. Afterwards, I found my dream notes, and they were spot on. I haven't really had dreams ever since, but I have very similar dreams and dream notes pretty much every day. I cannot explain. My brain is not the same ever since. I don't know why so many of the stories I found for this video are about car accidents, but I just could not skip past this one. Wait for you to hear this. When I was 16, I had a dream. I was riding my bike down an unfamiliar road with library books. I had just checked them out from the library behind me, near the baseball stadium. There's a four-way stop ahead of me, and my view of the road to the right was blocked by trees. As I approached the intersection, I don't really make much of an attempt to slow down. By the time I noticed the olive green SUV, it's too late. The driver ran the red light, easily going double the limit. They slammed into me, pinballing me into a nearby pole, then into a fire hydrant. My bike is crumpled on top of me. There's no question that it was fire. Yet, the most absurd thing is that just before the accident, my vision stopped. Just before I crossed the road, as my body was falling away, I simply stood there like a nice little baby. It was like watching an instant replay next to me, just waiting for the time. It was an odd dream to be sure, but one I wrote off as having overactive imagination. After all, that scenario just wouldn't play out. I moved in the opposite direction, far enough away that I simply drive instead. Good attempt, Rain, but you went for me. I I'm 19, intending to move to college locally. My family had things to do in that part of town, and there wasn't anything particularly helpful in the house. However, I'd recently taken to checking out CDs in my library and found enough collection later. Since my bike was still on the van, I might as well bike a mile or two down to the library. I hadn't found anything worth listening to that I didn't already have, but I did find a few books. I rode my bike back home, the library behind me, the stadium further back. The only traffic was going in the same direction, and there was no one else on the road. Not that I could really tell. There were trees blocking my view, and I couldn't really hear anything over the cars on the street. I came to that intersection, and a wave of terror just hit me full force. I slammed on the brakes at that stop sign. For a split second, I wondered what the hell I was doing. Then, an out-of-green SUV, easily going 50 in the 25 zone, roared out past the trees. Thanks to the sudden stop, they barely avoided hitting my front tire. I damn near fell off my bike, shaking. I dragged it to the sidewalk, sitting on the grass, watching the cars go by, and just waiting for these runners to pop out the house. Two cars under the stop sign. The first one passes me. I saw my body covered by the fire hydrant. The second car passed me. I have quite a few weird or creepy stories from my childhood, but this one stuck out to me the most, especially because of my mom. My great grandmother passed away when I was 7. It was of old age and deterioration, so while it was sad, it was not surprising. The day of her funeral came, and in the country where I live, it's tradition to have all of the close family members of all ages stand close to the casket with the lid is lifted one last time so that they can look at their dead family member before the casket is much after. Me and my cousins being young, our parents told us away while we were asking for but me being an insolent kid who likes to do the opposite of that, I, of course, turned my head and looked back anyway. Where I stood, I was close to the foot of the casket, but it was elevated enough that I could see my granny. I looked at her face, and she was looking up, just staring right up at the ceiling. Her blue eyes were open, and to this very day, I would swear it's true. It's what I saw. I wasn't scared or anything. I just thought it off. She looked like she was at peace. Eventually, of course, my mother popped up and bring me along. The rest of the ceremony is very long. After the funeral was over, and we were walking back to our car to go home, I still felt confused by what I had seen, so I turned to my mother and asked, Mom, why were Granny's eyes open? My mother just slowed down and looked at me with the most bewildered and horrified expression I've ever seen. They weren't. And she said nothing more. She did not speak to me for the rest of the funeral. I am 26 today, and I still think about it. Was it my imagination? Did I friend or scare my mom by asking? I may never know. I was at a very large zoo with my daughter who was 5 at the time. We were matching outfits so she could easily be identified as something. We were in the petting zoo petting birds together when I looked over and I see my daughter taking another man's hand and walking through. I took off running. You never knew your true abilities until you do it for you or your child. Only for my daughter and the man to be nowhere in sight. I had only run maybe 50 feet in very open space. I was immediately crying and hyperventilating for fear that my daughter would come up. Suddenly, I felt a little hand press mine, and my daughter's sweet voice after me. Everything is fine, and I enjoyed our day at the zoo, but I can't seem to wrap my mind around the experience. The little girl had on the same shirt, same shorts, same shoes, same pigtails, and the same long throat mark on the neck of my daughter. Still gives me place. I'm not gonna lie, I have a feeling that this one, along with some of the other ones we've gone over in the past, really became sort of a motherly instinct. And what I mean by that is I feel like the mother is so afraid and so almost paranoid of losing their child, which is an innate feeling, that they almost produce it. They almost see their kid being taken away by someone as almost like a fear response. Now that's just my idea, but again, these stories are so weird and they don't make any sense. I mean, this mother saw her daughter walking away wearing the same exact clothes that she was wearing. They were matching for that reason. She even saw the birthmark on the child as well. So although I want to jump to conclusions and try and explain something, I think we can look at the range of food well and see what happens. I basically figured out how to make it happen, and I would never have to take it to a food well. I also about to do it and read that there are many people who can feel something grabbing them during sleep paralysis. It started to weird me out when I thought that I was being physically moved or put out while I was having sleep paralysis. It was getting harder and harder to wake up from it. I tried to brush it off again and convince myself I was imagining things. There was one particular night when I was sleeping and I realized that there was something attached to me, which wasn't ordinary. The only difference this time is I could feel something speaking in my ears about how it went into the room and how I was asleep. It wasn't like something that I heard in my head. It feels correct in my ears. The voice genuinely haunts me to this day. It was terrifying. Whatever it was tried to push my head into my pillow. For 1 second, I couldn't believe it. I somehow reached for my head and I just could not. I grabbed a hand or a wrist and I was holding my head down. After I grabbed the hand, it stopped and I woke up. Ever since that night, I haven't experienced any sleep paralysis episodes. This is about half a year ago. I tried to tell my therapist about this to help me rationalize it, but even though it's normal to feel things grabbing you during sleep paralysis, there's not really any case where you can physically feel something that's not there. The following story happened to me when I was 4 years old. I have no recollection. I only know what my family is doing. When I was a kid, my dad worked in Mexico and would visit us about once a month. We lived in a small town in southern Texas. One day, before picking him up at the bus station, my mom told my siblings and I to use the bathroom at home so we wouldn't have to leave home at the bus station. My brother and sister said they saw me walk into the bathroom, but they never saw me walk out. My mom opened the door to check on me, and I was gone. With the layout of our apartment, it would be impossible for me to walk out without anyone noticing. My mom started panicking and called my grandpa, who was a police officer at the time. Within an hour, multiple police officers and neighbors were searching for me in our apartment complex with no luck. 3 hours later, my godmother found me in my bed, sound asleep in my bed. The weird thing is that there were multiple people searching inside the apartment as well, and they hadn't found me anywhere inside. It gets weirder. When they asked me where I was, 4-year-old me said I was in the sky, looking clouds with a duck using a machine that had a crane. She would spin on one side, and the clouds would spin on the other. I didn't fully believe this story growing up until I was visiting my grandma in Mexico City years later, and she confirmed it, saying that mom called me flying right after that. My family likes to joke that I was abducted by aliens and returned home after a few hours. This all happened 31 years ago, and I still have no memory of it at all. Alright, while searching for stories to share in this video, I came across like gold mine this summer. I'm honestly surprised that I haven't found this earlier, but it's called The Truth Is Here, and it's basically just full of all these true stories of people's unexplainable experiences. So basically, just the premise of this entire thing. I'm going to start off with one of the more popular stories in this subject, but just wait until you hear this. When my daughter was 4, she reminded me of our past life together. I've heard countless stories of us happening one way or another with children, and wanted to see if it's happening again. When my daughter was around 4, she began to talk about the last time. She'd say things like, yeah, but that's what happened last time, not now. When I was older with you, not when you were my mom. I'm talking about things she had done. One day, we were sitting on my bed having a random conversation before bedtime. She said something like, when I was your grandmother, I died before you were born, so I wanted to meet you. When your sister died, I had to wait until you had a daughter. I was a twin, but he was a stillborn. My sister never got my breath, and my daughter had no idea. There's no way she could have known that at 4 years old. I'm just putting it out there. There are countless stories of children remembering things from past lives. My kid did, for sure. Alright, this next one is one of those awfully beautiful stories. I mean, it's terrible what happened, but you'll see it. This is the first time I'm actually there. So when I was 13, my older brother, who was 18 and I, were on our way to a movie when we were hit by a truck driver. I woke up in the hospital 4 days later, having lost my right leg and other leg and calf, along with other injuries. That night, I woke up to my brother sitting by my bed, telling me everything would be okay and go back to sleep. Next day, parents came to visit and see how I was doing. I asked why my brother wasn't with them, and they looked at each other and they couldn't say anything. That night, I again woke up to my brother sitting by my bed, again telling me he knows I can get through this, and that I need to be strong to overcome this, and not let injuries stop me from living again. We talked a bit, him not answering specific questions, but answering more general questions. I remember asking him why he was still wearing the clothes from yesterday, because that was very unlikely to have anything similar to what he wore the day before. He didn't answer, but when asked about how he was, he said better than he thought he would be, given the circumstances. It reminded me to be strong, keep living, and not let anything stop me, and how much he loved me, before telling me I could get some more sleep. The next day, my parents again came to visit me in the hospital, and I again asked why my brother wasn't with them. And looked at each other. It was only after I said that I would like my family to visit together, not at different times, and would also like my brother to visit during the day when we could talk about it instead of the night, that my dad asked why I died. I told him Andy had been coming at night to visit me. My mom broke down and left the room. My dad then told me that was impossible because Andy died in an accident instantly. I didn't believe it, argued against it, and ended up having to be sedated. That night I had no visit, but the next day my mom brought a newspaper about the accident. Okay, one of the nature of these videos is the copies. I said it before, but I personally feel kind of I sort of think it's that, I don't think that it's possible to lose religion and at the same time I think it's possible to disprove it either. With that being said though, if something like this actually happened to me, I think I would probably start believing it something. I don't know, after you hear this one, I really want to hear your responses in the comments, and also just tell me if you're religious or not. I'm just interested to see what people who watch these videos believe in, whether or not that actually happened. I was homeless when I was in my early 20s. There was a weekend when I had to work all week because my boss was gone for this holiday. I didn't have much money, so I ran out and worked out back. I didn't eat for 2 days, and on the morning of the third day, I decided to pray. Now, prayer wasn't for a specific religious deity. Rather, I called out to the Creator of all that is, was, and will be. I asked that I be fed or given a way to eat. I clearly heard the loudest whisper in my right ear. Clean the park across the street. Now, I was sitting on a bench across from my park, so I was taken aback by the words, but why? I got the whole place picked up and noticed a piece of trash that I had missed. It wasn't trash, but a wallet. In it was a $10 bill, and it belonged to someone I knew. I used the money to get something to eat, and later in the day, I saw the person the wallet belonged to in the window. I told them that I had used the money in it and would pay them back in 2 days when I worked with it. They argued with me about money being in the wallet, thinking there was no money. They had taken it all out because they went to a rave and never kept talking about it. I can't explain it, but I know that it happened. So I believe in the Father of all that is, was, and will be, and I can never not believe in it because I'm ready to myself. On June 2nd, 2010, a taxi driver named Felix George we killed a total of 12 people, including 13 others. I had met this man a number of times. Before these events, he seemed like a nice guy. He even gave me a deal when he picked me up for my friend's birthday the year before he snapped. The reason this relates to this subreddit I will get into shortly, but I've been thinking about posting this for a while now, after getting into the idea of multiple realities in the universe. It's piqued my interest. On the day of the shootings, I was supposed to be my friend. I went to the bus stop, and it turned out that the police on board, the policeman was used to help me out. They filled me in on what was going on and said to stay cool and angry on because it was a madman shooting me at random. My friends were already in Emerald, so I decided to walk them instead. The bridge was cordoned off by police and there were people staring from the windows. I approached the petrol station and someone came to unlock the door. I got screamed at by the people to get inside, so I did. I took my phone out to call my friends. They picked up quickly and asked if I was okay. They said they were in a store and someone had been shooting me in the street. We were stuck there for around 2 hours, waiting on word of when it was safe to leave the building. Eventually it came through on the radio that the word had been solved, and that was that. My father had a stroke in 2011 and was hospitalized for a while. My mother went to bring him some money and pajamas and stuck around for a bit. They were talking about how things were at home and when she brought me up. My dad apparently broke down crying about, quote, what that bastard did to my son. My mother came home a bit distraught and filled us all in on what was said. In my dad's mind, I had been killed in 2010 when a bear occurred. He insisted I had died, and even when he got home a few months later, he became more agitated. Even violent, insisting I wasn't his son, and his son was murdered the previous year. It still freaks me out thinking about how he stared at me, how sure he was that I had died. He knew the detail about my funeral and everything. My father was recently deployed to full-time care after an incident he appeared to be here as a postman. It makes me wonder even more about the possibility of multiple realities. I may be reading too much into it, but you're not sure after all. What do you guys think about the situation? This is a very notions that other child dying, and you just make that up in your head. I mean, he did this so much to the point where he was home. He was literally angry with his son. He was visibly angry with him, denying that he was actually who he said he was. So again, I ask you, is it really possible that this father fabricated this entire memory of his own child's death? Or is there potentially something else going on here? Something far beyond that. Guys, did you know Samantha called?
Well, thank you to working in for sponsoring this video. Modern life can be a mundane existence. We are safe in hospitals, but we can also feel stuck. Stuck in our little routines, our office jobs, our relationships, with most of all stuck with ourselves, our limitations and fears, our inability to live freely in this tightly structured society, and often our inability to truly change ourselves, to live up to what we know we can truly be. And a recent Joker movie once again proved how fascinated we are with anti-heroes, villains, those outside the bounds of morality. And although to suggest that such a movie could be blamed for inspiring any real-life violence, as the boundary between film fantasy and reality is vast, it is interesting to look at how these dark characters resonate with and explore our own psychology. Now, an often used psychological concept to understand this fascination with villains, how these characters reflect our own dark side, is the concept of shadow self by Carl Jung. I myself have utilized this concept to analyze Mindhunter, and Thomas also touched upon it in his Dark Knight analysis. So I thought it would be interesting to explore a different psychological concept, to treat character studies, the concept of legacism.
God is hungry for chaos. Watch society break down and find out what's truly important.
Legacism is the paradoxical desire to be struck by disaster, to go back into primordial chaos, to witness the end of the world.
A trade for a crash, or a mid-air collision, anything.
Now, of course, to explore this, it would be logical to look at our fascination with huge disaster movies. But I think that a character study of three protagonists serves as a more interesting individual approach to such a psychological concept. By looking at Fight Club, Breaking Bad, and The Joker, we can see how three characters are thrown into chaos and disaster and what they find in it. All these characters are stuck within society, within themselves. The urge for chaos and disaster then is a craving for freedom. Now look at Walter in Breaking Bad. He finds disaster in his cancer diagnosis.
I understood what you said. Yeah. Lung cancer. Inoperable.
Now, as we know, he decides to cook crystal meth in order to make money to leave for his family. But of course, he goes far beyond this goal, and what we truly see is a man that was trapped, breaking free and breaking bad, finding power, danger, excitement, and freedom through the disaster of his cancer diagnosis. From the very moment Walter gets his diagnosis, he starts finding freedom, control, and power. His death sentence becomes his liberation as he acknowledges himself. Now, of course, it turns out that his death sentence doesn't give him the freedom to do anything, since he still has a lot to lose. His family has a lot to lose. But through the seasons, he increasingly gives up these attachments to friendship and family. One could argue not completely, but through his path into chaos, he increasingly chooses power and freedom over safety, security, and family.
Jesse, you asked. I'm in the empire business.
But it is not only his cancer diagnosis that can be used to explore the concept of legacism. In a world of constant distraction and worrying about the past, the future, and all the little troubles, to be forced to focus only on survival, only on what is right in front of us, is actually freeing. There is a simplicity in chaos where you are forced to focus on the only thing right in front of you, and you become purely focused. The narrator of the original video about lepicism by the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows remarks also that an aspect of lepicism is the feeling that it only takes a push for our fragile society to fall apart. I would say that this aspect of legacism is what in a way defines the Joker. At the underbelly of a fragile but structured society, the Joker only finds anxiety, fear, and pain. But once he starts introducing chaos and disaster, he finds freedom and power.
I just did. I do. I took your little plan and turned it on itself. Look what I did. This season, you're going to dance and come to boats.
His mission then becomes to prove to others that chaos and anarchy only takes a push.
I'll show you. You check it down. These civilized people, they'll eat each other, introduce a little anarchy. Upset the establishment, everything becomes chaos.
Now, for disaster to be involuntarily thrown upon you and have it change you is one thing, but in Fight Club, the narrator basically introduces it into his own life. Fight Club was, of course, released in 1999, which was a time of economic prosperity, stability, and security. Now, as a lot of movies released in this year, Fight Club explores the search for radical change during prosperity and stability. As was also pointed out by the YouTube channel Now You See It.
Fight Club takes this opportunity for introspection and turns it into a conversation about manhood. A world without conflict means a world where men don't have a way to assert their own masculinity. So the characters go to great lengths to manufacture conflict and chaos to satisfy their masculine impulses.
Prosperity and stability does seem to create boredom and a feeling of being trapped, and throwing yourselves into chaos and disaster frees us. Why have a nice and organized apartment and a stable corporate job when you can blow it all up, move into a wreck of a house, fight each other every weekend, and blow up credit card companies, all in order to feel alive, free, and in the moment?
When time is over, nothing is safe. Afterwards, we all felt safe.
Now, although the characters I've discussed go down a dark path, I don't believe legacism is necessarily a path towards evil. Something that is incredibly hard for all people is personality change.
Change your mind. Do this. All the ways in which you can do it.
Because yes, in fact, we are creatures of stability and safety. This makes it hard to change our personalities and bad habits. And as Academy of Ideas points out, radical personality change is actually something that occurs often after a descent into chaos.
Rapid personality transformations do not occur very often to those content with life. but instead are more likely to occur to those who have reached the darkest pits of despair.
The paradoxical idea of a desire for chaos and disaster is thus explained by the desire of radical personality change. If we are unable to change ourselves through the discipline of changing our own actions, it becomes tempting to wish for chaos to force us to change. Because yes, chaos did create the Joker, but did it not also create Batman? Can disaster also not open the door to greatness? When we are thrust into a personal hell, there is also a chance we can come out changed for the better.
Yes, but it's okay. Alright, look at me. I'm really okay. Trust me.
And I think this is what makes the psychological concept of Lacanism appealing. But as Academy of Ideas points out, forced sacrifice more often than not leaves us in the pits of hell.
But an involuntary sacrifice is, according to Jung, an unmitigated catastrophe. It is more likely to result in a psychological breakdown than a psychological rebirth.
It is therefore better to take the leap ourselves. Instead of waiting for disaster to hit us, we ourselves must initiate change despite us being creatures of habit, comfort, and predictability. Because when we step into chaos, into the unknown on our own terms, we are able to change our lives and ourselves more effectively. Alright, now as you can see, I was unfortunately caught in the Hong Kong protests a couple of weeks back, and even though I only was just a bystander, I took my camera with me and I took a lot of footage. And so I made a community post that I wanted to make a video on the protests. Now due to the political sensitivity of the topic and radicalism on both sides, I don't feel completely comfortable making that video right now. So I still want to make it in the future, and I was really excited about it, but for now, I'm not going to make it. That being said, it's sponsor time, and I do want to thank NordVPN for sponsoring this video. They were actually a great help when I lost my phone in protests, because I had a lot of apps like banking apps and government taxes apps for the Netherlands that I still need to use while I'm on Hong. But I couldn't install them on the new phone because you have to be physically in the Netherlands to be able to go to the App Store and install them. But using NordVPN, I could just access the internet through a Dutch server and still use those apps and still install them. Also, I just use them to go on Netflix and watch the entire library of Netflix instead of only having available the library that is available in my country. So if you want to use NordVPN as well, click the link in the description below or go to nordvpn.com/storytellers and use the code storytellers to get 81% off a 3-year plan. Plus you get also 4 additional months for free and free access to the NordPass app. It helps the channel out tremendously, so go check it out. Besides that, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
The internet enables 8 billion monopolies. That is a quote from Paul. Cliche, a bit too simple, but extremely deep, and I don't know why I'm still waiting to see a year ago, overload that is but overall it's good. It has its real I absolutely love all. But we're here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the one-person business model. Why? Because I feel like way too many people have dreams of starting like $1 billion company, or being the next Jeff Bezos, or being the next Elon Musk, because that's what we see. And the thing is like the gap between where you are now, because I'm assuming you haven't started a business or else you wouldn't be dreaming of that. The gap between where you are and where they are is causing so much overwhelm because you don't have a way of getting there, right? That is what clarity is, and that's what the lack of clarity is what causes overwhelm and anxiety and just psychic entropy and mental disorder, not a mental disorder, but disorder of the mind in general. Now, before we start, you have to understand one thing. You have to understand that humans are the only being that can have an idea and make it real. Now, things like chimpanzees and other things, they use tools, they use other things, but what other being has constructed this world that we live in with our minds, that are constructed with the school system, the government, religious beliefs, constructed language, from nothing but images and symbols. Does this not blow your mind? We have language at some point in time, right? We have the ability to get consciousness, focus, and the tools necessary to connect these ideas and make them tangible and that will communicate in relationship with other people. And that's a discussion for a whole other topic about the traps and downsides of all of that because it controls many people's lives. But I would argue that that is one key to a high quality of life is just leaning into your nature as a creator, as a builder, and actually building things rather than watching other people build things and just do absolutely nothing about it. You see, self-reliance is possibly the greatest value in my life. It has brought me the most value as values should. Because when people would come, and this is in relation to a one-person business as a creator, I used to be a freelancer, I did coaching for a bit, I did consulting. I pretty much did every one-person business offer under the sun. I've sold, I hate talking, but for credibility, quality purposes, I've sold $100,000 plus of almost everything that I've done. Freelancing, coaching, consulting, digital products, cohorts, everything under the sun. And that's why I talk about this stuff. Because one, I have direct experience with it. Two, I know the steps you should take, and I know that people overcomplicate it way too much. So, in pertaining to business, when people were screaming at me to go, or to just go and do all this short-term stuff like reels, like I do, but go and do reels because it's the future, or hop on this next business model, or do this and do that. And it's like, I already have something good going, and I'm going to go in the opposite direction because success is counterintuitive, and that is also valuable. Mine is kind of counterintuitiveness and being skeptical. And so, what I did was opposite. When people told me to go short form, I started writing long form newsletters. And that self-reliance, me trying to figure things out for myself, has taught me more than any other course, any college, anything. That's how you do it. That's true learning is by directly experiencing something, by not taking people's advice as law, testing it for yourself. And this is not only pertaining to business, this is pertaining to health in any ideology or belief system in general. It's like when someone comes up and is like, hey, raw liver is the best thing you can eat, I got stuck in that trap. But it's not like you have to see multiple perspectives, because that's what life is. It's just a conglomeration of perspectives and goals that people are trying to hit, problems and benefits and all of this other stuff that form a singular perspective that makes someone believe something. And so accepting a specific ideology as law is just closing your mind off to any opportunity that you have. So back to the topic at hand, where here we talk about the one-person business model, which I believe is the best route for 95+% of people that want to start a business. Because one, it follows a human progression pattern. You evolve with time, right? So a lot of people that I know, and myself included, they start out in one of two ways that require zero experience. One is skill-based, right? So we're talking marketable skills, so design, photography, email marketing, copywriting, SEO, web design, all that stuff. You know those things, and you probably learn some of those things. But the next thing, because those are like, you're starting a freelance business, but what about a coaching business? That is where self-development comes into play. So it's either skill-based or it's development-based, right? And so this is pertaining to building an audience or just giving value and educating people so they will buy your product or service. Your freelancing service, your digital product, your consulting service, whatever it may be, right? So they start with skill-based, and then they educate people on those skills. So if I am a writer, which I am, then I will teach you how to write. I will give out little tips and articles on writing. If I am a mindset guy through self-development, then I'm going to give out mindset tips. I'm going to give out education on strengthening your mind, etc., etc. This falls under the health, wealth, relationships, internal markets, health, wealth, relationships, and happiness. And then the skill-based is kind of like you use that to complement your self-development so you can make money a bit faster, because a high-ticket service like a freelancing offer you can sell for $2,000 to $3,000 once you get good, and then you can sell it to your audience, or just reach out directly to people and try to land via cold outreach or something of that nature, and make money off. So those are the two routes that people go. And from my experience and from my failures, I've always recommended people start posting content. Why? Because a lot of people start freelancing or coaching, and they on those things and building trust and authority without you having to do it in the DMs manually every single time. So you build an audience along the way, and then once you get to a certain point, once you have a certain amount of traffic and a certain amount of loyalty, authority, clients start coming to you, and then once your audience gets larger and larger, you can productize your service to reduce your time spent on that client work and sell something like a digital product. Or if you're in the self-development space, like mindset or health coaching or something of that nature, you can create a physical product. It doesn't always have to be a digital product or a course. It could be something like, as an example, I talk about self-development a lot. I talk about focus a lot. I want to create a coffee brand, coffee no opinion. And if I talk about that more and show myself doing that, people are going to buy it because it's something good and something useful in people's lives, and I am the unique mechanism. The personal brand is the unique mechanism and why people will buy from me over someone else's, because I built that connection with you guys by trying to be as honest and transparent about this as possible. So we're going to walk through what I call the entrepreneurial method, which is just kind of like a spin-off of the scientific method. But we have to understand here, like, how do we apply this before we can actually get into it. So the way that we apply this is, for a one-person business, we need three things. We need a brand, which is like your body, in a sense, or like your storefront. It's how you are perceived, right? So you need a brand. And the way you brand is you brand a one-person business based on yourself, right? It's a personal brand. It's a personal business. The brand revolves around your vision for the future and your goals. That is what you are leading people towards, because followers follow leaders, right? So if you are not a leader, then don't try to start a business. So the next thing, how do you attract people to that brand? How do you build a following? Content. And your content is created from your interests, so self-development, or skills, which are the skill-based things that I talked about, and you educating people on that, while also throwing in your unique spin here and there, right? Talking about your interests and educating people on your interests and skills, and throwing in your own personal thoughts, your own beliefs, maybe some mindset stuff, maybe what you're doing on a daily basis, right? You entertain, educate, and inspire with your content, or learn how to write or structure content